This is my crowd. Alright, hello, my name is Kasen Schamaun, and I just want to thank you guys for being here first and foremost, and thank you for your time. Okay, so, sports are a stitching that have been in the fabric of America since the beginning of its conception, whether it be America's favorite pastime of baseball or its new obsession of football. Unfortunately, racism is also a stitching in our fabric, and even today we are seeing sports and racism side by side. In a world where we are constantly striving to reach equality for all people, how are the teams, the Cleveland Indians and Washington Redskins, not only using these slang terms and caricatured logos, but they are profiting off them? I am actually a fan of the Cleveland Indians and grew up with Chief Wahoo all around me. In fact, I had a Cleveland Indians based room where Wahoo was all over. So when the controversy began and the debate started over the logo and its use, I was very interested as it was a pretty normal part of my childhood. Today I will be talking about why we need these names to change and these logos to change. And I will be going over when these teams were created, why these teams and their names and logos could be offensive, and what these indigenous people are doing to stop this racism. Let's begin when these teams were created. These teams and their names are extremely outdated. The Redskins themselves were originally in Boston and were called the Braves, and then in 1933 they became the Redskins. The Cleveland Indians began in 1948, and this is also when they donned the Chief Wahoo logo and mascot. I think we can all agree that in the 1950s and earlier, the political climate was almost polar opposite of our own, where racism was almost normalized and things like segregation were rampant. So how do we let these outdated logos still run wild in our modern times? Now, how these logos can be considered racist is a little bit longer of a conversation. Chief Wahoo in himself is a caricature. We see a big wide grin followed by a large nose with a feather in his hat a feather in his hair that means nothing. This picture perfectly encapsulates how Native Americans feel about it. The Redskins themselves have a racial slur for their name. The term Redskin derives from the Beothuk tribe, who would paint themselves red for hunting and ceremonial purposes. The term, often like other slang terms, was used as a term of endearment in the culture itself, but in the 1800s, people outside of the group began the term as a slur. This is comparable to that of many other minority groups. This is all according to Lakshmi Gandhi of NPR. The term Redskin is also compared to that of calling people of Asian descent yellow, and none of that is allowed. The other issue with these teams and their names is they open the door for a vast amount of cultural appropriation. Cultural appropriation is the practice of taking somebody's aspect or practice or idea from their culture and using it at face value for something other than what they intended it to. This could be someone wearing a headdress to a Cleveland Indians game, or kids running around with tomahawks at a Redskins game, or a ceremonial warrior cry being used at either of these to inspire the team. All of those are blatant disrespect to the true culture of Native Americans, and they have every right to be upset over it. So if these things are actually racist and upsetting, what are they doing to combat it? Activist Sebastian Medina Tayak in 2017 released dozens of fake news stories into the media saying that the Washington Redskins had officially changed their name to the Washington Redhawks. It was in this moment that the world saw a mass appreciation and positive reinforcement for that. While they did not actually do that, it showed that the world is ready to see this change, as well as members of the indigenous groups. Beyond that, on a more grassroots scale, people of Native American descent or otherwise will stand outside of these fields before games and chant their cause with picket signs and other means to show their discomfort with the logo and the name. On a larger scale, nations like the Oneida Indian Nation are doing radio campaigns and grassroots mobilization and newspaper ads to combat the issue. Really anything they can do within their budget. To me, it is still disgusting how this blatant racism is allowed while the people of the groups that are being represented do not want to be represented that way. Even ex-Redskin player and Hall of Fame football player Art Monk says, if Native Americans feel like Redskins or the Chiefs or another team name is offensive to them, then who are we to say, no, it's not? That right there encapsulates the basic mood I want to embed into you guys. These logos in themselves are outdated, as they were created in a time that is nowhere near our own. They are racist, as they portray a caricature image of a Native American, and they use a blatant racial slur. And they are even fought over by the members that they are representing and need to change. I hope you guys realize that these teams should change their logo, and I hope that you, in a way, do not support their name or cause. Thank you for your time. And that's my sources.